All right, and welcome, folks, to our new podcast series. Where this quarter we are reaching out to legal professionals. I'm inviting them to have a chat. So today I'd like to welcome Wendy. So, Wendy, I'm glad you are able to join us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And today we are kind of focusing around the topic of how internal automation helps law firms deliver more value without raising fees. So, with that, essentially what we're going to do today is I want to start out with a question around today's topic, and then I'm going to give you the floor to give more of an introduction and some background, and then we'll talk more about your practice. So, I know many firms today talk about efficiency, but few truly really realize the efficiency within their operations. So, how has internal automation allowed your firm to deliver high quality IP work without passing higher costs on to your clients?
That's a great question. So we are in a field that's predominantly fixed fee. So we do a lot of fixed fee patent drafting and patent prosecution work. And those fixed fees have been pretty flat for the last 15 years. So it's been on us as attorneys and as a law firm to be more efficient so we can stay profitable and also continuing to deliver high quality legal work under that fixed fee structure. So with that, we've really had to turn to automation and figure out how to deliver excellent quality product consistently in that fixed fee structure.
All right, well, perfect. I appreciate the insight. Basically, what I want to do now is just open up the floor and just give you some time to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your practice, and then I will take it from there.
Okay. So, my name is Wendy Zimbone. My background's in software engineering. I worked as an engineer and then I had a startup company before law school. And then I went into a field called technology transfer, which is commercializing the patents and research out of universities. And from there, I went and started a law firm with one of the outside counsel I previously worked with. So we've had our law firm for 11 years. The majority, what's called considered a boutique IP firm. The majority of our work is on the patent side, patent preparation and prosecution. We also do licensing strategy, software commercialization in our practice. So we kind of touch everything, the whole IP development life cycle from the idea to commercial product and selling the company to another entity. So my background actually in software engineering has come in handy with all the automation that we've done internally because that has become a big focus of our is that we need to be able to automate to do these tasks more efficiently in order to continue offering the services that we offer.
All right, great. And for those who may not know, because I remember when I first heard this term, I thought it was something totally different. Can you just briefly, high level, explain the technology commercialization side of things
Internally at the firm or externally for clients.
for those who may not have heard the term or familiar with it?
Yeah. So technology commercialization is really like, you have an idea or you have a piece of software. How does that go from your entity, whether you're a company or a university, out into the world? And that can look like many different things, right? So software, you can have a software as a service model. If you're selling lawnmowers, you can be selling the unit itself, right? That has a lot of different forms that it can take. And with that, there's a lot of different agreements, IP considerations that go along with it.
Appreciate that. And I know you gave us some insight earlier, but when you were focused on building your new firm, how did you start thinking about the systems, workflows, and tooling, and not just the legal expertise of it?
It's a great question. So when we started 11 years ago, the technology was actually very different than it is right now. So when we first started, we had to have a docketing system, track all our deadlines, case management system. And then that's evolved and it's gone to a lot of automation. We are trialing some AI tools, but really what I describe as like the main pillars of our practice now workflow wise is automation. So we use automation to build the draft of like whatever you're drafting legal work product wise. And that could shave several hours off of paralegal time or preparation time for the attorney. We also use automation. We scrape the deadlines from the United States Patent Office and the European Patent Office. And from that, we generate a bunch of workflows that are assigned to different individuals of what tasks they need to do off of that action that came from the Patent Office. So that's another example of automation. We also do our basically quality control and proofreading of our legal documents through an automation tool as well. All of these things help you deliver a more consistent product, a more consistent workflow. I really focus on the quality, but helps us speed up the process because every product that we make, so like every patent that we draft is really like a custom manufactured legal product. Everyone's a little bit different. So we can learn from what we know and other patent applications from our experience. but everything we have our hands in, right? Like everything we're drafting, there's lawyering going on in each document. So it's really about using these automation tools to enable us to do the quality legal work without having spent too much time on the kind of added steps that would prevent us from being profitable.
Okay. And so, like for other firms, and I know internally you mentioned a lot of the drafting, but what other internal processes may benefit most from automation within a law firm?
So, like one example of what we're doing right now, we're working a lot in Microsoft Power Automate and automating all of the notification emails that go out to our clients. So, they get notified when we receive an action on their behalf from the patent office, which could be similar, say, if someone was doing litigation and they needed to notify a client that they received a document from the other party or from the court. So, these things are now automated through Microsoft Power Automate where these notifications go out automatically to the clients. They can also be triggered. So if we are waiting for instructions from the client, how they want to proceed, it can send up automatic notices at 90 days, 60 days, and 30 days. And then it can set up a task. So if we still haven't heard back from the client, the attorney can start calling them or the paralegal can start calling them at a certain date. So it can automate all those things. So it's not something that our team has to do manually, and which saves a lot of time if you're looking across a docket of work to do.
Well, that's great. And I also like to hear that you are using something that's pretty readily available to most firms, especially if they are using Microsoft. So I think that makes it a very attainable goal for a lot of firms that might be interested in doing something similar.
Yeah, it definitely is. And the cool thing about Microsoft Power Automate, it's like a no code solution platform. So it's one, very cost effective to implement if you already are using the Microsoft suite of services. And then it's a no code solution. So you don't need to have programmers on your staff. You really just have to understand the logic of the problem or workflow that you're trying to break down. What tool needs to launch what task, and then you can build it in Microsoft Power Automate.
Perfect. And then as you're looking to do some more automation and you might be evaluating a new tool. So how do you determine if that tool or automation is going to actually improve efficiency versus just adding additional complexity?
That's a great question. So, one thing we're doing right now with our administrative team is that we ask them. So, a big part of like making these technology improvements is getting your employees to buy in and really use them. So, if the ideas just come from one person, you often don't get that employee buy in. You don't get people using the efficiencies the way you intend. So, what we did was we went to our staff members, our paralegals, and billing staff and said, what tasks on your plate take you the most time that could be delegated to someone else or something else, right? Or an automation tool. And we worked at it that way to get their buy-in into the project, their commitment that they really wanted this to work. So that's how we prioritize tasks. It's like, okay, what causes you the daily headache that we can take off of your plate? And then how should we do that? And how should we prioritize that? So we started there and got that list from people and then started building those automations. And from there, we're going through like a whole sort of dashboard for the firm. So we took like like low hanging fruit as far as like this task causes enough of it daily inconvenience for our staff that they'd be really happy if it went away and if it was automated. And we started there. And now we're going to build what's basically like an automation dashboard where it tracks the work through the firm and automates the different steps. And this is like a larger level project that we're working on. This is our goal for 2026. And that it just is a lot of sort of process engineering, human workflow engineering. How are these people interacting with the tool? We don't want to create extra steps to take them more time versus less time. So that's phase two of the project. But to start, it was let's see what tasks can be automated. How can they be automated? How can we save you time in your daily work? So then you want to help us with this next step.
Great. I'd love to hear that. Anything else you'd like to add around the automation or the business side before we move on?
I think it's just that it's always a moving target, right? So your clients, like the work changes, the systems change, your clients' requirements change. Pick the automations that are going to get you the best return on investment and start there, right? The ones that you have the highest volume because it's impossible to automate everything. You're always going to find something that's outside of the box that you're going to have to deal with or a client request that doesn't match your standards. So you can't go into it expecting to have 100% automation. It just doesn't exist in the field as we know it right now because things change too fast. But really like look at those, what's taking us the most time, what's creating the most busy work, how do we automate that so then we can free ourselves up to do other things?
All right. Well, great. And so I want to transition, talk a little bit more about you specifically at this point. I know you do a lot. You got a lot going on with the automation, but what do you personally enjoy most about running the firm that is designed to be lean, efficient, and intentional with the technology it uses?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really like, so we have worked a lot on firm culture. So we have worked through some different business books. We also work with a business consultant, and we spend time defining our core values, defining our mission statement, and really have worked hard to hire people that live those values and live that culture. So I find that really rewarding. I think it's really rewarding to watch people go through their careers and create the environment that they thrive in and really support them. I've been running the firm for 11 years now, so I've seen people have families and buy houses and achieve professional goals and really do wonderful things with their lives. For me, it's very fulfilling that we've provided them with a good, healthy working environment that they enjoy coming to work every day, and that's enabled them to do those things.
All right. That's great. So, are there any current initiatives that you're working on right now, whether that's new tools, processes, improvements, or automation efforts that you're really excited about, would like to share, or anything else that may be going on that might be worth kind of keeping an eye on?
Yeah, so we are traveling. We are trialing, sorry, not traveling, trialing several tools on the AI side. And when I say the AI side, most people are thinking about generative AI. So there's agentic AI and generative AI, and we're looking at different tools and how they can help us further automate our process. And so we have a mapped out effort for this year. There's many different tools that have come out in the patent side. A lot of them have promise, but they're not quite there yet to use in our day-to-day work the way that they're kind of designed. But they're improving every day. These language models are improving every day. So we have set out like a patent team that analyzes these tools in their work. And this is all done as being lawyers. Like we have to take a lot of security efforts so our client data and information is protected. We have to get client permission to use these tools and to test it. But we are, we need to make sure we're on the edge of these tools as they go forward because they change so rapidly. And going forward in this fixed fee space, our clients are likely not going to pay us higher fees. They're going to expect us to use these tools to deliver the same product at the the current fee structure. And that's a hard thing, right? Inflation goes up, all our other costs go up. So we really have to be more efficient. So we need to know how to use these tools and how to use them well, but still develop the quality, dependable legal work that we have been known for and continue to provide. So with that, it's a big part of our jobs going forward is technology implementation. The big part of the role as a firm, as an entity, is technology implementation. Guiding lawyers on how to use these tools correctly, educating them on how to use the tools correctly, and really providing the infrastructure to do that.
Okay. And you had touched on the security with the AI tools. When you're evaluating, you also look to see, do these any of these tools offer a basically like a privatized instance versus, being quote unquote on the public instance if there is a difference in that tool.
Correct. Yeah. So we have to do that. So we are subject to different security requirements for our different clients, and those are very strict. We do represent some large multinational companies, including one in the banking space. So they have very strict cybersecurity requirements. And so the tools that we use are in a private environment. They're like an enterprise level subscription, essentially, that keeps our data separate from the rest of the data model. So that is incredibly important, right? So part of our obligation as attorneys is that we protect our clients' confidential data. So that's an instance, example, right, of the importance of doing that and focusing that on the tools, really understanding how they operate, how we can use them safely, and then also, keeping our clients' data separate from our other clients' data. So we represent different clients, but for example, Microsoft Copilot, is a tool that can learn from your environment. But as attorneys, we have confidential client information from many different clients in our environment. Some stored separately, some stored, it's all different folders. But if we were to allow Copilot to, for example, to learn from all of our client information, that could be a breach of confidentiality if it made some conclusions that learned from multiple clients at once. So that's just one example of really having to take a deep dive and understand how these things work to prevent client information from being used in the wrong way.
Okay. Well, actually, we kind of went right into my next question because just literally talking about protecting the client sensitive data. So that was perfect. All right. Well, those were all the questions that I had to ask. As we wrap up here, are there any other thoughts or final thoughts you'd like to share with the audience?
I think that Automation and artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence, these things have been around for a long time, decades. People, it's been in the media, so people are talking about it like it's this new thing, but really the technologies existed for a long time. Now it's more publicly available with things like ChatGPT, OpenAI, and those tools. So it's just more publicly available as the way you use it and implement it. That doesn't mean that it's better, right? So I think it's an important part is learning the technology, learning how it works, learning what guardrails you need to put in place to really protect yourself as a lawyer, using them in your practice, as protect your clients' confidential information, and ensure the quality because these tools are very unreliable right now. And I think it's an area where people can use the tool 5 times to get excellent results for a certain task or a certain document, and then the sixth time make it a totally horrible result, and then have a lot of trouble getting the tool back to your earlier results. So they are not very reliable at this point in time, and that's something that needs to improve. So always analyzing the tools, looking how they operate, testing the reliability. These are really important steps to take before implementing them in your practice.
I think you're spot on with that. It is, I would agree from what I've seen in using them. And what we always tell people is, what AI gives you, always treat it as a rough draft. It does make mistakes, but also what we teach people as well is, your output is only as good as the input. So it's also all about how you're prompting and providing it that initial input and parameters to get what you're looking on the other side of it. All right. Well, Wendy, I really do appreciate you for coming on and speaking with us today. And for anyone else who'd like to know more, we'll have all of the information in the chat if you'd like to reach out or connect with Wendy to learn more about what they do or get some assistance.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.